And they're passing each other on the street. It was just insane. The area is destroyed. And even though this area is destroyed, the appraisal district has it listed as a highly desirable area to live. The whole area, the appraisal values keep going up when all over the United States, everywhere, a blighted area is a concern because it destroys the property values. Not here, not there. My property, little wood frame house, pier and beam, tiny house. Been there it's as old as I am. We won't say what that is. It's old. These are houses that would be ideal as starter homes. As old people die off and leave, these are great places for young people to move in, right? That they can afford. Can't afford them anymore. That's over. They're going to have to stay home with their mother. And the question I'm trying to answer is, how is it that this blighted area is different from blighted areas in the rest of the United States? My property value went up for 5 years, $48 a day. Every day for 5 years. This little crummy wood frame house went up in value. Is my beep beep?
Yes, it is.
He's in control of the beep beep. But nonetheless, I may be addressing the wrong people. Kevin, and that the state board, where were you sending me?
Well, you can't take this up with the ARB as far as your specific property goes.
No, so I'm talking about.
But beyond that, you can talk to the property tax division, state comptroller's
Well,
office.
they
They
sent
can
me
get
to
this.
you. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm glad you all showed up today. I was here waiting for you last week.
Thank you, Robin.
You bet.
And next I have Susan Saldana.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Susanina Saldana, and I'm here to talk to you about a very sensitive issue as far as I'm concerned. And it concerns Ronnie Canales. As I understand it, you have him on administrative leave. And I understand that you have the right to do that as a board. I am appalled at the way he's been treated. He has been an excellent tax assessor and collector. He has been an excellent person for this company. And that's how he's being paid. I saw all of you all and what your issues are. Whatever your issues are, they're okay. However, let me tell you something. When you have people that have run for office and run for office on the fact that you wanted to come in here and clean house, there's nothing that needed to be cleaned in house. Because Ronnie has been, like I said, an excellent person for this institution. You don't have to answer me. I know it. I've been here. I keep up with you guys, even if I don't come to your meetings. I keep up with what's going on in our city. And I'm appalled at the way that he was treated, that somebody had to go behind him and escort him out of this building. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You really should be. He doesn't deserve that. You are all business people. Would you treat one of your employees this way? Is this how you would treat them? If you had a problem with them, would you treat them that way? I've also heard all sorts of rumors. You're going to name your interim as the person that does it, that comes right in after him. I've heard that, and I've heard you're going to do a national search, but you're still going to name her. If she deserves it, then she should get it. But you shouldn't remove him just because you have an issue to grind. You shouldn't remove him until a complete investigation is done, and it's done correctly and for the right reasons. Had you given him that opportunity to get it done, it would have gotten done. You did not. And anytime any entity in our community does something wrong to someone that has been serving this community with honor, integrity, and dignity, I'm going to come up. Doesn't matter, I know most of you, okay? I know most of you. and I know that you mean to be good people, then you need to think for yourself on what you're doing. I don't expect an answer. I expect you to take the right action for the right reasons. Respect the people that need to be respected, do the right thing, and don't go out talking in the community because it always comes back to us. And anytime you do, I'm going to be here. Have a great day.
Thank you, Susie. All right, going to item number 6, discussion action consent agenda. Approval of minutes of the April 9th, 2025 regular meeting and approval of April 2025 disbursements and receipt of the May 2025 litigation.
Can you hear me? No, I can't.
Yes.
Still can't hear me. We can hear you. Everybody else? Yeah.
I'm sorry, what? I couldn't hear what you
The
said.
E is blocking me.
What is the issue?
See, it blocks me.
It seems like Hobby and Ed can hear each other,
But they can
but
hear
not us.
Not really for,
Because they're talking to each other, but they're not responding to us.
Hello, hello, can y'all hear us?
Can you hear us?
Stand by.
Ed,
Ed, can you hear us?
Hobby?
Ed, can you hear us now? Test, test.
I can now.
Okay, now we can hear you. Bobby, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, great, perfect, thank you. So we're on item number 6, discussion and action and consent agenda item, approval of the minutes of the April 9th, 2025 meeting, approval of the April 2025 disbursements, and receipt of the May 2025 litigation reports. Do we have any questions or concerns about any of those items? If not, I'll take a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
Susie makes the motion, John Cook seconds, all in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And item number 7, we will move on to the taxpayer liaison officer.
Good morning, everybody. No comments, complaints, or suggestions. Protests started Monday. Protests themselves have gone very smoothly. It's been very busy on the 3rd floor because we are still in, today is the last day, but they're still in the process of accepting protests. So the 3rd floor has been very busy in that respect, but the hearings have gone very well so far. Unfortunately, we had 2 more auxiliary members resign, mostly for personal reasons, caring for parents, et cetera. So that brought the number of vacancies on the ARB to 4 auxiliaries. So Mr. Tiller asked me to recruit applicants. So we have started to advertise for that. I do already have 1 application, and I'm speaking with another gentleman who's interested. So hopefully I will have applications to present to you for appointment on at the June meeting. So right now they're okay. They have enough people to staff the panel, so they're doing all right. Anybody have any questions? No?
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number 8, discussion and action to approve the March 2025 disbursements, and this was regarding the cash reconciliation and, I don't know. if you want to take, Or, Irma got it.
So we provided a spreadsheet outlining the dates of delivery, the invoice date, and the invoice amount, and the amount paid with the Visa, and the amount paid with the cash, and the date they were paid as well, and the withdrawal date. We've also provided on this sheet here, the invoice total, and what was paid with the Visa, and how much that was total to, and the petty cash totals. So I can go over it if you like right now, so we can.
The only question I had looking at this was, I appreciate you getting the information to us and how the money would, hopefully never do this again with cash. But why are we paying a $775.64 fuel surcharge to go like $4? Do we know any answers on that? Was anybody asking any questions on that?
We didn't know about their invoicing until they got here, and they tried to explain how they do the estimates on their invoices.
Mhm.
So, that's their rate.
Yeah, that seems extraordinarily high for 4 blocks. So I think, going forward, if we ever deal with moving companies, I think we need to take a much closer look at these sort of things and find out exactly what the fees and charges are gonna be before you have them done.
And usually go out for quotes.
Yeah, because
I don't, do you know if that was done?
$10,000 for
That-
for 4 blocks.
You might not know.
It appears to be a couple hours of work. Seems really.
Moving forward, we will do that. We will get quotes. We will make sure we know about their charges and how they do their estimates on their invoices. And if they have good invoicing, we were given a lot of duplicates. We had to break it.
Right. And then I also, if the company won't take a check from the appraisal district, it's somebody else.
Yes.
And who
I
was,
have, go ahead.
oh, you go.
I have a quick question. Where's, if I missed this somewhere, I apologize. Where is the breakoff point where we're supposed to take quotes? Do we have an amount, like anything over $100, anything over $1,000? Do we have that?
50,000.
50. Okay.
Yeah.
But we could still do quotes.
No, we could, yeah,
Yeah.
we
Even
would
if
do
it's
quotes
not- yeah.
for a lesser amount too.
But personally, doing quotes on, I'm not talking Mickey Mouse stuff, but doing quotes is really gonna be above board for everybody. It's cleaner, best way to look. So anyway, that's just my opinion.
We will do that. Moving forward.
I was gonna ask, do we know who personally received the cash?
It was the delivery head, I guess, the head person that was doing the delivery
So
that
who
day.
is that employee here?
Who received the cash? You
Or,
mean the-
sorry, who gave out the cash?
It was between myself and Irene. We were handling the cash, the payments. So we were making sure we noted everything down.
So whenever that was handed, did the person receiving it sign a receipt?
We got a receipt from him through,
Y'all got a receipt from him, but that's not in here.
he let the office know that he had been paid, and that's why they were able to start the moving, and they were able to invoice us. Oh,
I just think we've learned a lot, right, from this. We're probably gonna do it very, very different.
yes, it will be handled differently.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve. Item number 8.
Make a
Unless we have any more questions. More questions? Got a motion from Deanna. Need a second?
Second.
Second from Gabby. And on favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion carries. All right, moving on to number 9, discussion action related to approval of the appraisal district's first quarter 2025 list.
That is also me. And this is our first quarter investment report. We reported the quarter earned 3.03% return on investment versus the benchmark that is 4.21%. I know it looks a little low, but that's how the interests are right now. And also the district collateralized all the balances per the investment policy requirements. And earnings on district funds total 54,426. It goes into the investment, to taxable investment pool. So that's our first quarter.
Anybody have any questions?
I just, if we have, you said it's at it was at 3%, you're at 4.3% right now, or where are we with our fixed investments?
So we have a link that we go to. So the benchmark is 4.21 based on the past 3 months. So we have to look, and that equals out. That gives me my benchmark.
Are we capable of investing this outside of where we are with the institutions? We're not?
No.
Okay, that was, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, but it says half is taxable and half is not half. Some is with taxable and some was with Frost.
We're not using an investment advisor.
No, I know, that wasn't her question.
My question is the yields are higher, right?
Yeah,
Especially for certain
You were saying,
amounts.
I thought you answered her question saying we didn't have a choice, but if
I
there's
misunderstood the
frost,
question.
Yeah.
So,
if there was frost, then it could definitely be someone other than Frost, right?
Yeah, it could be, and that'd be something maybe the investment committee needs to take a look at.
That was my question,
Who's the
because there's
investment
banks
committee?
that are rated the same way as Frost right now that give over 5%, depending on the length. And I don't know where our restrictions are, but I mean, it's free money if we look at it, you
I'll
know,
have to
so.
review the
yeah.
policy.
I'm kind of curious about something myself. Is there anything stopping us from using credit unions? They traditionally pay quite a bit higher than
Yeah,
banks.
they do too.
I
I
will
I
have
guess
to-
that's investment committee,
Investment
like you said,
policy.
right?
Yeah.
Who's on?
Have we set up the investment committee recently?
I don't know.
Certainly look into it.
Yeah, let's do that and probably put that on the next agenda, or future agenda, so we can take a look at that and do a deep dive into that particular subject matter. And have that as a future discussion. Do you have any other questions? We can put that on the agenda. Any other questions? Sir? Don't think there's any action required on this item. Okay, so we need to approve the adjustment committee report. May I have a motion?
So made.
Motion made by Gabby, second by
I'll second.
James McGill. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. I'm gonna do some rearranging because we have some people on some short time right now. We're gonna go ahead and move into executive session. Number 17, public notice is given that the board of directors may like to go into executive session anytime during the meeting to discuss matters listed anywhere on the agenda when the authorized by Open Meetings Act 551 Texas Government Code. Should the board of directors elect to go into executive session, the section or sections of the Meetings Act authorizes the executive session will be publicly announced by the presiding officer. Upon completion of the executive session, the board of directors may take such action as appropriate in an open session. Item A, consultation with the board attorney and deliberation regarding the employment evaluation reassignment. These are the chief appraiser, Texas Government Code, sections 55107 and 55107. We're now in executive session. 10:28.
Irma went that way to go get them.
Okay, time is 11:19, and we're now back in regular session. As far as item 17 goes for executive session, there is no action to be taken. And we will move on back to our,
10?
we're on item number
10?
10. And it said here, we get back to
Just curious who Angela is. Just a minute.
You're on item number 10.
If I was counting my steps, they would work.
Discussion action regarding updating authorized users for textile account.
Yes, we have to update the account with the users. So we need to, we would like your permission and your approval to remove the representatives that are right now listed as Ronnie Canales, Angela Jackson. So we can add Deborah and myself. Every time we submit a update, we have to re-put people that, we don't want them to get deleted. So it's every time you update, you have to submit a form.
I have a question.
Yes.
What position did Angela Jackson have?
She was an HR that had not been deleted for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll need a motion to approve.
So
Motion by Devin,
Second?
second by Susie. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries. And item number 11, discussion action related to the auction of vehicles.
So previously, the board had approved the 4 vehicles on the top part. Now we're asking if we can have the board approve the additional 4. They're in a separate parking, and there's been vandalism issues with them as well, and they're not functional. So,
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
okay.
Just wanting to know, where's that second location?
It's behind the education center parking, like kind of lost.
Oh, so still close to
Yeah,
here.
it's here,
Oh,
but
okay.
there's vandalism after hours and when we're not watching them. Parking,
Oh,
yes.
got it.
And there's no security there
Mhm.
as well.
Thank you. So that's what you see on the map, that you just would be, right? We have our fleet directly behind the building, and then, South John Sartain, and Mississippi with the Mama Mia's parking here. This is the education service center here, parking. And, so yes, we feel like, having these vehicles go up for auction, it'll kind of save on cost.
Yes.
And the vehicles are now moved behind the building, and they're under 24 hours.
So we wouldn't be using the secondary parking anymore?
No,
Were we paying rent for that?
We were.
How
it
much?
was, 19,200 annually. And so we will be saving that, but we will need to have, since now the back parking is going to be taken permanently by our fleet, we'll have to ask the Education Service Center to provide a few more spots. We'll report on that at the next meeting.
Has anybody talked to them yet? Okay. Good. There's a lot going on with parking conversations I've been part of lately, not just with them, but with A&M and with Lomax family.
It's not on the agenda, so we'll go on.
Yeah.
So it'll be on the next, meeting. So, I need a motion, for the auction of vehicles.
So
Motion.
move.
Yeah.
Motion by Susan, second by Gabby, all in favor? Close same sign. Okay, discussion or action related to vendor payment for the 2024 homestead audit. And Deborah, I think. Or is that you already? Okay, all right, great.
So, back in December 2024, you approved the assigning of the funds for the homestead audit, for the Gatsby, 54. So that's where the money, it wasn't in the budget itself, a line item for 2024, but it was assigned, back in December 2023, and you guys reassigned it again in December 24. So, this is just to let you know that we have that fund, that money there for the homestead exemption audit, and we have paid it already. Because
This
we
was
didn't,
Lineberger?
Yeah.
That was the one we
Oh, there it
signed.
is.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I signed that
There
last
it
week.
is.
This is
Yeah.
just a ratification.
yeah, it's just, yeah.
We owed them some.
And,
So I need a motion for ratification.
Want to make a motion?
Motion by John Code, second.
I'll
Second.
Need a second by Devin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, item number 13. Discussion or action to ratify agreement with the Future Good PLLC for procurement services for the RFQ and RFP.
So this has already been signed, but we have a copy of the signed engagement letter as well.
Which I signed last week, because we had to get going on it.
Yes,
So
and-
I just need a motion to ratify that agreement
This is our canvas stuff, right?
for the
Okay.
CAMA
Mhm.
and the RFQ for the heavy industrial.
Okay. Are we gonna use them for, like,
Yeah, they'll be
just
doing the
everything?
yeah, They'll be
Okay.
doing the RFQs and our.
okay, good, good. I make a motion.
John makes a motion.
Second.
Second by Susie, all in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, item number 14, discussion on status request for qualification for professional appraisal services to include appraisal of mineral, utility, and industrial property.
I went ahead and met with Veronica Cheney of the Brenda Woods and Lucia firm. And our timeline basically is the next meeting, we will revise the order that was originally signed on January the 8th to outline a committee. We've discussed who in the appraisal district would be best qualified to serve on that committee. And that will be coming forward at the next meeting. Also, in terms of timeline, we talked about having the RFQ out by June and selection by July to essentially have a start date of September 1st for the 2026 appraisal year. Any questions?
There's no action on this, so we'll move on to item number 15, discussion of the 2026 budget calendar.
So this is our budget, a calendar for the 2026 budget. Oddly enough, all the dates kind of lined up again because we shifted the meeting to Thursday and it was Wednesday, so they all shifted to Thursday. So now they've all aligned like last year as well. So this is our outline for the budget for the 2026. Do we need a motion? Or? No,
Need a
okay.
motion. Does anybody have any questions about?
So
that?
similar than,
Mhm.
than previous years, right?
Yeah.
David, will you be here on the 10th? Because I will not.
I don't know. To go to arbitration in New York for Hurricane Harvey.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
There may be some arrangements on this date. I know I will be out.
If you know this far ahead of time, maybe you can reschedule
Yeah.
ahead of time so everyone will know.
Would anybody like to just move that? Can we move it to the following week?
I think we might be able to.
As far as the June 12th date?
The June 10th?
June
July 10th.
July 10th.
The public hearing. Can we move that to the following Thursday? Does that put us out of whack with the requiring? Recommend, yeah, if we can do July 17th, that would be wonderful. Does that work for y'all's schedule? That'll be on Thursday, same time? same-
Today, it does.
Yeah, today, yeah. I already know I'm gonna be gone, and somebody Devin's gonna be gone, so.
maybe Ed will be back by.
I should be here at that time.
All right, so we'll just amend that. I need to take. All righty, and then no action on there, then, item number 16, any discussion to amend board of policy manual? Anybody have recommendations? That's something we have to talk about. Anything? Nothing, so we have no. And we'll skip on over to number 19, Interim Chief Appraiser.
Item A outlines that we have, actually, April the 1st, we sent out 146,443 notices of appraised value. We have, currently, we have 15,073 protests that have been filed as of this morning. 6,272 are online protests that have been filed of those 15,000, which means that 8,801 properties have been protested in person or by mail, email, uploading. Commercial properties went out April 11th. Business personal properties will go, business personal property accounts will go out June the 20th. Industrial, light industrial appraisal notices will go out May the 21st. Moving on to item B, preliminary values went out to the entities timely by April the 30th, with additional information on the Corpus Christi Housing Authority properties, which and also include Barney and Davis and the Nueces Bay property. Additionally, the House Bill 9 business personal property account. So all of those items with an estimated value were additionally delivered to each of the entities as well, with their preliminary report for them to take into consideration on their budget. And moving on to item C, our current ARB equalization phase. Those are the numbers that I just gave on where we are with just to recap, 15,073 have been filed, 6,200 are online protests, and 8,800 in person or mail. Next, reporting on our community outreach. We had 3 satellite mobile workshops. The first of which was April the 26th in Fort Aransas at the Civic Center. We had 32 taxpayers, and out of those 32 taxpayers, 19 protesters on site. We had our Robstown community outreach was Saturday, May the 3rd. We received 15 taxpayers and 15 protests.
Say 15 or 50?
15.
Okay.
We're settled.
percent.
But the number you said before that showed up was,
15 taxpayers and 15
oh, 15 and 15.
100%.
Then, just last week, on Saturday, May the 10th, we actually offered open to the public here on site so that we could kind of see what the difference is in terms of cost and how much it takes for us to be on the road versus here in-house. So we were open on Saturday, Mother's Day weekend, and we were open from 8:30 to 2. We had 27 people in person and 32 calls that came through that day. So, the numbers aren't large overall, but the cost and the time that it takes for us to move the workshop on the road is a little more cumbersome than it is to just have the office open. So this next year, we may consider opening, here on a Saturday. I mean, at 8:30, before the doors opened, there were 4 people waiting outside. So, and that was with the air show and it being Mother's Day. If we planned it accordingly next year, we may have more people in office on a Saturday than we would on the road. That's something we'll look at for next year. Next, we have our Ad Valorem seminar that's going to be going on September the 17th through the 19th in San Antonio. Our legal department is signed up for that, so they will be in attendance at that legal seminar. We have next our IAAO conference. That was something that was planned previously as we being appointed as interim. And we took another look at it and felt like that was pretty costly. So because we still need CEUs to continue our licensure, more than likely, rather than going to IAAO in Orlando, Florida, we're going to just choose to go to the TAAO, which is local and in Round Rock. That is going to be going on August the 24th through the 27th. And the management, there'll probably be 5 to 6 people.
What does CEU stand for? Continuing education?
Continuing education. And if we're going to a conference, it's pretty cost effective for us to attend and network in our industry with other larger or like districts so that we can essentially network and attain our CEUs at the same time.
And get best practices and so forth. There's a lot of things you could have at these conferences, so.
I'm curious on how do you reach out to when you do these out of office community things? Are y'all doing mailers, online,
We do,
notices online?
We actually have a public press release that goes out. We send it out to the publications, Corpus Christi Caller Time, the Island Moon, the South Texas Jetty in Port Aransas, and KLux, I believe, was one of the radio stations that we also sent it to, and also I believe it was sent out to KIII and KRI.
Plus, those are the locations that they had been doing regularly. So I think some of those communities are used to it. And if it's still that low a number, I agree with you, it might not be cost effective. Of course, it's valuable to the 15, but overall, yeah, I agree.
And
Yeah.
we may, in addition to that, because I know statutorily we're required to be open on a couple of weekdays past 5 o'clock, so we may incorporate some of that as well. To help those, people who have that work schedule. And lastly, on G, we have our financial audit that will be forthcoming. As we know, as of today, it should be presented in July, so tentatively.
Is that the same firm with Jeff Smith? Gowan Smith, Gowan Smith.
All right, item number 20, suggested items for the next regular meeting. I've got the parking lot contract discussion. Anything else the board members want?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. The Eagle Vision contract will be up, I think, in September.
Eagle
Yeah,
View?
Eagle View. That's where they fly over. Yeah, so, I want to say this, it's nice that we're not getting snuck up on every time we have a board meeting, that things are kind of laid out in front of us now, as opposed to show up and, hey, you got to vote on this in 5 minutes, So I appreciate everybody's effort in doing that. Yes, so I guess at some point we need to discuss the RFQ for them, since they didn't have one last time. And I know it's not popular. I would like some actual real numbers of what it would cost, what we would save, back to, appraising a third of the county, a third of the county, a third of the county. And what that would save in the actual labor, what it would cost, if it would cost, if it will cost tax money, then I would like to be able to say, we can't do it because it costs tax money. But until we have those numbers, I can't say that. I can just say, we need to look at it. So,
We can definitely put a report together to show how we actually conduct the reappraisal now.
yeah, we like math. Yeah.
And then also statutorily looking at the market activity. So that's 2 different phases, but we'll definitely compile a report for you by the next meeting.
Yeah, just for the record, the reason I wanted is, and I've said it before, so homeowners can say,
Plan.
it's this much for 3 years. You know, if that's not realistic, I need to see the numbers why it's not, and I can explain that. You know,
Right.
most people that are smart enough to own a home are smart enough to realize if it's not cost effective and it costs all of us money, or we all save money. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by
Second,
Kathy, second
second.
by John. The time is now 10:39, we're adjourned.